Something that's been on my mind lately is this belief that thinking longer and weighing every possible outcome would help one make the right decision, and how it's easy to mistake hesitation for wisdom. And that belief doesn't come from nowhere. I feel like we're taught that pausing, analyzing, and waiting until we feel completely sure is the responsible way to move, especially as women, especially when visibility, leadership, and entrepreneurship are involved. But instead of clarity, it's likely you find yourself stuck, overthinking, second guessing, and these things, they drain our energy because we're revisiting the same decision over and over again. I don't know if you've ever caught yourself like just thinking about the same thing and it doesn't even make sense, the way it's just in a loop. And even when you recognize yourself doing that and you stop, before you know it, that thought is like going around in loops again. And I see this constantly with the women I work with, torn between, it could be like the business idea or unsure about an investment they want to make, or pausing at the cusp of a next step that they already feel called to. And here's what I've learned. Indecision is actually one of the biggest energy leaks there is. It takes our energy away big time. Not choosing is still a choice. And it's usually the one that keeps you frozen. When you stop giving away this power and you start trusting yourself, decisions don't feel heavy anymore. They move. And that's what I really want to get into today. Welcome to the Inner Power Game, the podcast for powerful women ready to lead, create, and live from their deepest energetic truth. I'm Folake, and here we don't just talk mindset. We play with frequency, identity, and embodied power. Let's begin. Indecisions isn't just a mindset issue, it's energetic. Every time you delay a choice, your energy splits, and part of you wants to move forward, another part stays trapped in the what if. And over time, that fragmentation shows up as tiredness, scattered focus, and lack of momentum. And here's what sustained indecision, like when you keep on not making this decisions that you know you have to make, this is actually what it does to you. First of all, it causes this mental heaviness, this mental fatigue from you going round in loops with the same decision or the same question or the same scenario in your head. You lose momentum because action keeps getting postponed. So you actually don't move forward because you're not making the decision to take the action. And this is one of the biggest things that keeps people frustrated in leadership, or in you are the one to move the needle, and if you're not able to, nothing moves. Also, it weakens your intuition as overthinking drowns out this inner guidance. And this is a big one. And lastly, as you're in this phase of this indecision, your self-doubt develops even when you're capable and experienced. And something I'd like to point out is this: indecision isn't the problem per se. It's what happens when you're trained to doubt your authority, to doubt your inner knowing before you're allowed to act. This is the problem. And this is really what I would like to also hone in on here. How we've been brought up to not trust our inner guidance and the effect of that. Because confidence doesn't come from perfect decisions. It actually comes from choosing and aligning with the choice you've made. Because the more you are able to make a decision and go for it, the more you start to trust yourself in your ability to make decisions, whether they were right or wrong. This is just the way it is. So I feel like we've been taught that logic should always have the final say. If you think about the education system, the way it works, we've been taught that logic is the way forward. And intuition is something you consult after you've probably looked at every angle. But intuition is not optional. It's not this mystical fluff. It's not this woo-woo thing. It's your internal navigation system. Most people assume intuition is a gift. Either you have it or you don't. In reality, it's a skill. And the more you use it, the clearer it becomes. Intuition is the thing that we have that tells us what is actually for us. Intuition is one of the most powerful tool, skill, ability that we have as human beings. And if we're not tapped into it, if we're not using this, literally, in the business world, we say you're leaving money on the table. This is exactly the same. You are not tapping into one of the most powerful things that you have available to you that doesn't require external resources. And in my work, personally, intuitive channeling has helped me cut through the noise. And I'm not even talking about like predicting the future, but by accessing like a deeper information that's already present beneath like the doubt or the worry or the fears. I'm able to sit with a client and see things that she can't or that many people will not be able to. I'm able to tap into that higher dimensional level where intuition resides. And this has become one of my unique selling points. It has become one of my biggest powerful tool in how I help women create massive transformation and get huge results. And you don't need a special ability to begin to trust your intuition. You just need to stop ignoring it, to stop overriding it. So if right now you're feeling like, I have been doing that and I can really sharpen my intuitive abilities, here are 3 simple things you can start to do from right now. The first thing I'll invite you to do is to start to practice and see how your body feels for a yes decision or a no decision. The second thing you can start to do is to start to look at patterns and repetition. And this is one, again, I speak about a lot. Start to pay attention to what keeps returning in your life. Start to pay attention to like the ideas, the nudges, the theme, and the things that keeps repeating, the phases of your life that keep repeating. Because when you start to do this, you are tapping into a deeper layer of knowledge that you haven't even used like 1% of. And the more you do this, the more you start to see this map, the more you start to see how to navigate things differently, and the more you start to create momentum in ways that feels so powerful. And thirdly, this is something else I invite you to do is writing. This download that comes from automation. Occasionally take a pen and a journal and ask the questions that you're trying to get clarity on. Ask the question and let the answer just move through you without you editing it. Just take your pen, take your journal, and just trust and see what comes through. Usually when I give my clients this sort of exercise, the first thing that comes to mind is like, but maybe nothing will come. maybe nothing will come, but I can tell you every single time things will start to pour out because your body knows the intuition is there, the inner guidance is there, the inner knowledge is there. You already have it within you. So start to use this automation of channeling things out. Get that pen, get that journal, don't overthink it. Ask the question that you're looking for clarity on and just let it pour. When you stop waiting for permission and you start listening inwards, decision making simplifies. You feel more confident in your decision making and you will start to move so much more faster. Intuition and practicality also work together. I'm not saying that you should only just tap into your intuition. If you've been following me for a while, you know that one of my things is how do we use both sides of our abilities, both sides of our energy, the masculine and the feminine. And here the feminine energy is that intuition, but also we need the masculine always. I'm not saying that you should get lost in the productivity hacks, but if you bring both together, there are ways of practicing self-leadership in a world that taught you to wait, where you can use some of those practical things and you can also use the energy stuff. So here are a few frameworks that you can use to combine both. And one of them is the 5-second rule. This 5-second rule to make small decision. If something feels aligned, act before that doubt gets in the way. Just take a quick action. So usually, this is the way I would use it. Sometimes when I bring clients into a meditation session or an activation, and in that activation or meditation or channeling, something always comes through in this process. It's like you would get an intuitive download, you would get some powerful guidance, and another to crystallize and bring that thing that you've taken from the higher dimensional into this physical dimensional without me making it overcomplicated. I usually invite my client to just use that 5-second rule. Take one small action very quickly, and that usually crystallizes the process. But even if you're not going through that process and you are just trying to move the needle, create momentum, and an idea comes to you, quickly take an action in that 5 seconds. It doesn't have to be big. The other thing I also I'm inviting you to look into is waiting for the full certainty. The full yes usually means you've waited too long. So if you're waiting for perfection, and sometimes maybe you've got an offer that you want to put out, but you want this offer to be perfect, to everything to be ready before you put it out. If you've already waited that long, you've already overwaited. If you're it's got to be perfect, it's already too long, because momentum comes from movement, not perfection. Momentum comes from movement, not perfection. And I see time and time again where a client will tell me something like maybe they think about, somebody that they could pitch to. And I always say, just send an email, just send something. Send an email to that person, drop something that it's about making this decision. You don't have to wait to be able to know what the perfect offer is for this perfect client, or how much you're going to charge the person. All that will unfold naturally. And using this, I have actually taken clients into multiple 6 figures, just using this, both the 70% rule and the 5-second rule, in helping them quickly make decision, move forward, and create momentum. The other one, which I love, and I have so many tools and activations for this in Inner Power Game, is the future self-test. So this is about you acting as or in your future self. And you could ask yourself a question like, what would the version of me who already trusts herself choose here? Like, what with a version of me who is already doing it? Well, how will she be moving? How will she be making decision? What type of decision will she be making? And I love this because one of the biggest aspects of my work is in helping clients quantum leap. And the way I do that is in this embodiment of the future self. And this is why I have so many tools and activation about this identity of our future self. It's just so powerful. So the future self test or the future self question, ask yourself, how would my future version, that version that's already doing the thing, how will she act now? What type of decision would she be making? And then you act as that person. So powerful and so much fun. The other one that you could, that we also do in Inner Power Game is this energy alignment check. And again, I love this one. So this is where you imagine the decision has already been made, and then you notice whether your body softens or tightens, because that information matters. And this brings me back to that, your ability to know the yes and the no, and how your body feels for both the yes or no decision. The more you practice this sort of things, the more you start to know your body, the more you start to know what is right for you. The energy alignment check, we use it for so many different things in Inner Power Game. Inside Inner Power Game, these tools, they help women to step into decision making from authority, not from pressure. So we make decisions by feeling grounded, by feeling rooted. We make decisions from a grounded, rooted aspect of us. If that resonates, all the things I'm talking about, definitely reach out. And we have so many resources that we can put your way. At its core, indecision is about and not trust in outcomes, but trust in yourself. And this is a big one. One of the biggest things that stop so many people moving forward is actually this self-trust. This is what it all comes down to. So at its core, indecision, it's not even like it's not that you are fearful of the outcome or that you won't get the outcome. You are fearful of, or you don't trust your own ability. You don't trust in yourself. Decisiveness doesn't mean you know exactly how everything will unfold. It means you trust your capacity to respond once you've chosen, that you trust yourself to be able to handle the weight of the decision, that you trust yourself to be able to hold it, that you trust yourself to be able to deal with the outcomes, that you trust yourself to be able to deal with whatever comes from it. It's not actually, trusting that you would get the right outcome. It's trusting that you be able to manage anything that comes from it. And here's the deeper truth, again, that I want to really hone in here. Deciding from your own authority changes how success feels. 100%. You're no longer playing by, rules that have been given to you. Now you are choosing on your terms. Now you are choosing on your terms. And this is what we say in Inner Power Game. This is why Inner Power Game exists, for you to create success on your own terms, not theirs. And this is what this is all about. Your ability to respond on your term. Your ability to no longer play by the rules that was given to you, but for you to tap into your innate power and choose on your terms. It feels so powerful. It feels so freeing, and it's something that seeps into everything in your life. So I'm going to invite you to think of one decision you've been holding on to, one decision that you haven't been able to move forward, and make the choice. Let it be clean. Let it be yours. Trust yourself to just make that decision and see what happens. Because don't forget, when we don't make the decision, there is a heaviness. That means that we're leaking our energy, because the energy is going into you holding on to making this decision. The decision can be a private one in your life, something that keeps keeping you heavy. You're supposed to make that decision. You're supposed to move out of that situation. It could be in your business. It could be with the clients that you're holding on to. You should let that client go, but you're still holding on. It could be in your business model, especially now that we're moving into new year. What decisions will make you lighter? What decisions will, move the needle? What decisions will bring momentum into your life that you haven't been able to? It's all about your self-trust, and all the things that we're talking about here is going to help you to move forward on that. So think of that one decision that you've been circling in on and make the choice. Make the choice. Release it so that we can use that energy for bigger things. So if this episode landed for you, I wanted to share it with somebody who's already holding back. Maybe there's another woman that stuck in a circle, stuck in a place, or looking or desiring to step into into another bigger level than they've ever been able to, but something is keeping them back. Because when women stop deferring the authority, everything shifts. Everything shifts. When we stop giving our power away, everything shifts. And intuition is one of the most powerful things that we have. Intuition is one of the most powerful abilities that we have to make decisions and to move forward in a way that is aligned to who you are, a person right now, that's aligned to what is meant for you. Your intuition is one of the biggest things. So let's stop giving that away. Let's start tapping back into this and stop overriding it with logic, with overanalysis, with overthinking, with worry, with doubt. Remember, success on your terms, not theirs. And that's it for today. If this episode moved something in you, make sure you're inside the Inner Power Game portal. There you would find the magnetic field, which is my daily energetic voice transmissions, and also the freedom and lifestyle design for women building a life and business in their fullest expression. You can find the link in the show notes, and if it's not there, you can always reach out to me on any of the social media platforms. Until next time, keep playing your inner power game.